release, like it was really beautiful, yelling, screaming, and she was telling her mom exactly how, she felt about her, how she made her life feel, right? But then the mom gets to talk back too, right? Because you have to let it play out, let it play the loop. And the mom said, like, I know you hate me and I'm so sorry, but like in a past life, we were friends. And we agreed to come down here together, and we agreed to play these roles. I agreed to be your mom. You agreed to be my daughter. And I'm so sorry that your life, this happened, that your life was so hard. And I just pray that you don't hate me for eternity. Right.
Wow.
And like, that made me cry.
Oh my
so
God.
Sad. It's so sad because like, I think we, if you believe in that type of stuff, but like I 100% do believe that, we are spiritual beings. We came down here for a lesson. And like every time it's like, picking like what classes you want to take in school, yes. Right? So you agree to these lessons and you're just playing out the roles to learn these lessons. So there has to be, like, if you to learn a lesson, there has to be a bad guy. Yes. Right? Someone has to play that role or you won't learn a lesson. Yes. So, and usually you reincarnate with spirits and that that you've been in past lives with, which your mom could have been your best friend. Your mom could have been, you could have been the mom or reverse or anything like that. And so taking that into consideration is just not, one of the wisdoms is like when we work through forgiveness, right? Understanding that we are just all human beings doing the best that we can with what we got to work with, right? And that's on the human level. But when you take it to the spirit level, it's just like, we are spiritual beings having a human experience and we decided to learn these lessons. So I don't see you just as the human being, right? I don't see you just as Carla. I see you as your higher self, as your spiritual being. Yes. Which is like, learning the lessons so you can evolve and like experience things. And I feel like when you take it to that level, when you realize like whatever lesson you decided to learn is in this life, right? And the people who are the bad guys, the villains in your life, you chose to learn these things and they have to play that role in your life, right? Yes. And I look back on, some of the people that I held on for grudges for a really long time. And I was like, I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you, right? But taking that step back and looking at them as not just their human experience, right? Yes. Doing the best they can, but looking at them as the spirit self, it helps so much. I can't hold this against you. Yes. I can't. And when have I ever not acted in my highest self? I'm also not perfect, right? I may have not done some of the things that these people did to me, but I'm also not perfect.
That's true. Yeah. And I've heard like theories that when we play one role of, the victim or the villain or even the hero, we're playing all three. We end up playing all three roles. So I believe that. I think that, and I feel like we come back with the same people and then we relearn new lessons, but take on different roles with each other and it always switches. So yeah. I totally believe that. And that's incredible that your client saw that. How did that change her perspective on life? And
she started crying. She started crying right away. And it's like she went into the mindset, I'm not going to forgive my mom. I can never forgive her for what happened. But we can process this, but I'm not going to forgive her, right? Like she said that. And I was like, we'll see when we get down there. And when she said that, like I start crying. Oh. And then she started crying and she's like, I forgive you, mom. Like instant, like it was like, wow, we can just move right forward. Cause like,
that's incredible.
Again, when you release that, you realize like, why was I even mad in the first place? Like, she's like, I can't even believe that I was letting this keep me stuck. Right. Yeah. And again, instant forgiveness. And then in my protocol, like after we do that emotional release, right, we have that talk with all the parts inside of you. I take them to source, right? So you are going to feel amazing. You're going to go and tap into that higher power. You're going to tap into source, tap into however you want to feel, but you always get into that. And to the extent that you are ready to release, that you do release, to that amount, do you get that much like healing work, first of all, but also that energy boost, right? So if someone release and they're bawling, they're crying, they're screaming and yelling, it was just so much energy released. When they go into source, when they go into that pure core state of bliss, love, peace, they're like, oh my God, I have not felt this good. This one lady,
That's amazing.
This one lady was like, I'm about to orgasm. And I was like, okay. But you know, that because it felt that having that, like, you release so much, but then it's like a clogged pipe, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like all this pressure is behind it, right? But that's love, that's God's pure like energy behind it, but it won't release. So once it is released, all of which how you should have been feeling for the past 10 years is there, and you get it all in one hit.
Yes.
And it feels, talk about a Reiki high, it's like 10 times.
Oh my God.
It's like,
what kind of, how do people explain their experience like before and after? Like, do they see things or feel things even that maybe they didn't before, either spiritually or just within themselves? And what is that like? Yeah, so a lot of people not a lot of people, but some people I work with, right, they're like, I can't meditate, I can't visualize, I'm not a big visualizer and stuff like that. And it's just like, that's okay, right? Because you don't have to lead with visions, right? Some people just feel, but there are other people who are very, very tapped in. But I see from people who can't see to people who can, that when they get into that hypnotic state, they are able to see things. And they're like, or even just just when they're just on the Reiki part, right? When I just have them on the table, they're like, my grandmother came and talked to me. Like, they're like, and this came, and like they will see these things, and I encourage them to talk. I'm just like, what's coming up now? Like, tell me what you're doing. Like, and I can see it on their facial expression. Now that you told me that one lady can, like, she goes, you got to figure out how to do that.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that, because I'm trying to go on the journey with them. But yeah, like they are experiencing something. They see something, they're explaining it, and it's always wow. Okay. It's always that was amazing. It's always life-changing. And I know this sounds really bad, but I really love to see my clients cry. Oh, it's a release. Crying is a release. That means they really release something if they start crying. Yeah, they're like, this hurts. I'm like, I know it hurts. Oh, I know, but you're doing the work. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. So, like, all of my clients, listen, if you want to cry, all my clients cry. Oh, yeah. They all cry, and it's just like, yeah, that is. And you know what? I think what's really important, the reason why everyone cries with me is because I'm able to create that space so they can cry, right? Okay, yes. That, like, the safe space. But, like, right, because some people not only need the external safe space, but they need to know how that space feels within them. So I realized when I was on my journey of trying to figure out my purpose, for example, I realized my purpose is to create spaces for people to heal. Right? Oh, I love that. It's beautiful. And I was like that, and that's how I filter everything that I do and what I'm going to do, right? I love that. And, thank you. But soon to come, want to build a retreat center so they can have the physical space, right? And, I know, Carla, you do this before you have anybody, you are cleansing the space, and we're making sure, like, we're doing all of the energetic work to make sure the physical space is good. But some people don't feel safe within themselves. Yeah. Right? And so to also be able to help them cultivate a safety within themselves so that they can face those memories, so they won't be afraid to go back and, talk to that abusive parent or even a bully. There was one guy that I was working with who was really, really bullied for a long time. So it wasn't necessarily an inner parent issue. Like, it was a kid on kid, right? Yeah. But they were afraid of them when they were 7, and that 7-year-old is still afraid of them. Oh, so okay. Like, they're like, no, we're not going back, right? Yeah. And you'll see these parts, a part of you, a part of your subconscious becomes the block, right? Okay. And puts up the wall. And when they're like, I'm taking them down, and sometimes they're like, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. And I'm like, that's completely fine. They're like, I just see a wall or something like that, right? It's like, there's a part of you that's blocking you because it's trying to keep you safe from this. Let's bring that part in, or let's talk to the wall, right? Like, bring it in, and then that part starts talking. It's like, no, she's not ready for this. And then I asked my client, are you ready? And they're like, yeah. Like, are you sure? Tell that part that you're ready. Tell that part that you want to uncover this, right? There was a young lady I was working with, and she dealt with anxiety for a really long time, and she was pursuing an acting career, right? So you can't be anxious trying to be an actor, right? But we did a couple sessions with her, but this one session specifically when we was working on the specific anxious feelings, right? Because it came, one feeling can have multiple events that happen with it. So we worked on a lot of her anxiety, but there were like different pieces of it that correlated to different memories. So one of them, she regressed, and she was like, I'm back when I'm 4, but I can't see anything else. And it's like, okay, let's work with that. And there's different things that I did, but then we just talked to the part, right? And it was like, it was telling her like, it's really bad.
Oh.
And then we're like, she's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And like, so she told her like, I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see what happened. Show me what happened. And she was molested when she was a young girl by like a family friend, right? Okay. And she was like, she forgot that part. She repressed it. A repressed memory is when you don't remember it at all, right? It's completely blocked, right? And it was so sad, but I love this girl so much. My heart goes out to her because the power that she gained after this, like, right? So she's not playing the victim anymore, and she was ready to do this work, right? But she was remembering her childhood. Like, I always felt weird around this guy. I always got nervous. I always tensed up. And she's like, and she's always tensing up. And that's the anxious feeling. Like, she doesn't feel safe, and she feels like she wants to run. And she's just like clenching up, right? Because that's what happened. That's what she did when she was a child. She just clenched up. And then also feeling she can't talk. She didn't tell anyone. She didn't tell anyone what happened. She just kept it to herself. And her child self made her forget, because it was just safer to do that, right?
Yep.
And like, we did some cord cutting in there. We was like, we're giving all that back to you, like, to that guy. But her working through it, and it's like, oh, we did a breathwork session with her too. Oh my God, so powerful. And as she was breathing and releasing all of this, she's like gaining back her power, gaining back her sensuality. It was like, this is not mine anymore. I'm not holding on to your darkness. Because you know that's what happens a lot of times too, when like people get SA'd and stuff like that. Entities can transfer, right, to other people. And it's just like, I'm giving that back to you. Like, energy transfers, and you're like, I'm giving that back to you. It's not mine, it's yours. And she's like, she kept saying like she felt this thing in her stomach. She just kept saying, my stomach, or she has stomach issues. She just kept saying like, I have something in my stomach. I have something in my stomach. And we were like, okay, let's go to what that is. And she was like, it's like this green goo ball. And I was like, yeah, let's pull that out. Let's pull that energy out. And she's like, it's not mine. And I was like, give it back to him, girl.
Yeah.
And she like, you can tell like on her face the relaxation when it was gone. Like the relief. God, it was like, she's like, oh. And just like after that, she's just like, wow. Like, she felt amazing. Again, we always take them to that core state as well. So she felt amazing after that, and she was killing those auditions after this.
Oh, that's great.
It's just like, she's like, yeah, I'm happy. Like, I can walk in the room with more confidence and not like always tensing up. And it's like, it's that part of that child version of you that's tensing up in these situations. And it's like, why is this triggering you? And it's like, it's that child that that child version, your inner child that takes over. We grew that part up. It released, it healed, it forgave, and it's just like she's able to move on with her life and not be burdened by that. And again, even when you bring the spirit in, it's just like, I understand, like, you did whatever you did for whatever reason, and I learned the lesson that I need to learn for whatever reason. Yes, I learned it. And again, that wisdom, bringing that wisdom, I learned it.
That's beautiful.
And I think that one of the most magical things about when you really change your perspective, when you have these traumatic things that happen to you, you are in a unique position to help people who've also been through those things. Yes. Once you healed, you can then go back and help other people to heal, right? And show other people that there is a way out, and like give that back to them. Oh, that's what I'm doing, right? That's what you're doing. That's what happens, right? And so it's like, why did this happen to me? Like, what? Like, why me? Right? Other than we know that you, at some point, you may have chose to learn this lesson. Yeah. But it's like, now we can help other people, right? Yes. Now, like, the people who are not, spiritually evolved, who are not aware of all these things, but they're still struggling. They're in the darkness.
Yeah.
Gotta go back and help them.
Like, I always say, like, your pain is developed in your purpose is developed in your pain. Yes. Once you walk through your pain, you find your soul's purpose. And that's why it's there in the first place.
And you get an amazing testimony. Thank God we don't look like what we've been through.
I know, yes.
Right? And it's just, again, it's really magical. And I feel really blessed to be able to do this, work, right? And I really believe your true purpose, your dharma, will always be in service to others. And I feel amazing doing this work and being of service to others. And people always try to thank me. I'm like, thank you so much. Like, you healed me. I said, baby, I didn't heal you. You did that. That was all you. You did that work. You dedicated this time for yourself. You are the one who chose to heal. You are the one who chose to forgive. You did all the work. All I did was guide you. All I did was hold that space. That's it. Because I can't heal somebody for them. I can't I can't shift like, girl, just let it go. Like, they won't let it go. They have to be ready. They have to decide to let it go.
It's hard. I know, like, I had to do hypnotherapy sometimes just to walk through some of that stuff, because it's so hard, because sometimes you feel like it's either too hard or you're too upset. And like hypnotherapy, I think it's so smart that you do that with it, because I find that by itself will get you there, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes that by itself is just like, you need to pull yourself out of a mindset just to walk into the healing, just to walk into the pain itself.
Just to be ready,
Yeah, just to show up.
Like, I told you, like, to me, hypnotherapy is the fast pass. Like, it's like, because I've tried talk therapy. I know people who've been in talk therapy for years. Too long, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why they're in talk therapy for that long, and no this on talk therapy. Like, I've done it. I know people who've done it, and it really helps. But it helps you on the cognitive conscious level, right? You understand what's going on with you. You understand your mental issues, right? You understand. I know so many people who found out they had ADHD and autism and stuff like that. My sister was like, now my life makes sense. Now I understand why I work this way, right? But just being aware of the problem won't heal it either, right?
That's right.
So it's like, okay, you know that these things happened to you when you were a child. You know that you are avoidant attachment style. You know that all these things about you. What are you going to do about that?
That's right.
At one point, you got to stop talking about it. Like, I know some people who can talk to the therapist. They've been in therapy for so long. They just tell this, I know it already, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. You ready to release it? Are you ready to do the work to actually release it? And that's what hypnotherapy does, right? I'm actually about to partner with some therapists to work on clients who just need the help processing the emotional part.
That's great. That's awesome, because that's so needed. Because I agree. I feel like talk therapy is great if you're like, I'm dealing with this situation like with work and I just don't know what to do in the moment. But if you're like, I don't know why I'm even doing this in the first place and where it even came from, that's when it's like there's something deeper there. And I feel like there's not a lot out there that already shows you like how to go access that, how to find it, how to work through it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And
Yes.
that's what's like, I will never knock it, right?
Yes.
But I do think that there's something wrong with being on doing it for years, right?
Yeah.
It is not healing you, right? Like, and you know what? Here's the thing too. Your body heals yourself, right? And it's like all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
Yes.
All healing is self-healing.
Yes.
Like, right? So it's just like, I got a cut and I put a Band-Aid on it. The Band-Aid did not heal my cut. My body healed it, right?
Yes.
Like it did the work. So your body knows how to heal.
Yep.
Your mind knows how to heal, right?
Yep.
My hypnotherapy teacher, right? He was telling us, and right now I'm working with myself on doing like a lot of outer body travel, like astral projections and outer travel. But he was saying, no, I'm learning this. I love learning new modalities. I'm always going to learn, right? So I'm learning astral projection. And he's saying when he leaves his body, when he astral projects, he would have a cold, right? And he would leave for like, do his thing for like 2 hours. And when he come back to his body, no cold.
Oh, wow.
Killed. And he was like, to him, he was like, that proves it. It was my mind keeping me sick, right? Because the body, as soon as the mind left, the body was like, we know what to do. We're going to start healing. Yeah, you're like, right? And because you can only heal when your body is in the rest mode, right?
Right.
Rest and heal your parasympathetic system, right? Yep. That's the only time you can heal. Most people are stuck in fight or flight, right? They're stuck in fight or flight. I think there's, because there's fight or flight, but there's also freeze and fawn.
Yeah,
right?
They're not talked about as much, but they're just as, I feel like they're just as pervasive.
It's still fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
And the fawning one is people pleasing. So people who are stuck in people pleasing, you are still stuck in fight or flight mode.
I didn't even realize that. That's a great point, though. Oh my God.
Yeah. And fawning, if for people who don't know, right? It's when when you couldn't fight, right? Because you were a small child, you couldn't fight, you couldn't leave, you couldn't freeze. So what happens when you find how the people pleasing comes, you try to please your oppressor, right? And you try to be like, please don't hurt me, and you be nice to the people who are hurting you, right?
Yes.
And that you see that all the time, right? Yeah. You see that all the time, and people who have that, people who have people pleasing issues, they hate themselves for doing it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's kind of the internal struggle, right? Because you're like, I'm being nice. I'm being nice. And you're like, and there's a part of you that's like, rip their head off. You don't deserve this, right? That anger comes out, and anger is a secondary emotion, right? And, it comes in because you were hurt, you were scared, something like that. You had to people please. And it's trying to show you where your boundaries are, where you should be protecting yourself. And, and people are embarrassed about their anger, or they try to shut down their anger, and it's repressed anger, and it makes it even worse.
Yeah, anger is a villainized emotion, and it's like we've got to all start accepting our anger. When people can accept anger, people are going to have so much easier time working through it. But we're so afraid of our own anger because we think something bad is going to happen if we feel it, that it just builds up and it becomes so much worse and so much bigger than it ever needed to be if it was just properly dealt with from the beginning. Because
honestly, if you flip out because someone stepped on your shoe,
or
if you're yelling at your child because they spilled some juice, right? I think you have some other things.
Yes.
I agree. Think something else is underneath.
There's something bigger going on.
Because these small, it's not that big. It's just not that serious.
Yeah.
And I think people try to run away from their anger. And I'm a recovering anger problem. I used to have this little angry child inside of me, rage all the time, right? And I got down there and talked to her, and we figured it out. But now, when she comes up, again, I told you, we did I do parts therapy, but I take my own medicine. So I've done all these things for myself too. That's how I know they work.
Yes.
Because I could tell you I'm a completely different person than I was 5 years ago. Completely different. And now, so she used to be this angry little child, would flip out, be passive aggressive, yell, all this type of things. And just so upset when she had to be bottled in. But now she's righteous anger. Now she's like when she pops up, she's like, no, what they did was wrong, Hannah. You should politely tell them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Righteous. She got a new job, but she's still there to be like, no, I ain't like that. You should talk about. You should say that. Something.
That's amazing.
Right? Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
That's how you gotta reprogram these things. So it's not bad. Yeah. Anger's not bad.
No, it's not.
Just give it a different role and allow yourself to be mad because you're mad for a reason.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much. This was so great today.
Yes, Carla, please have me back anytime.
I will.
Because I love talking about this stuff. It's my jam.
I know. Yes. And if you guys are interested in Hannah, her services, we're going to list that below. Listed here. You guys can find her on these.
Yes, on the below. But again, I do Reiki and hypnotherapy. That's what I do together. Have some past life regressions, all that type of stuff. I'm here. I'm here to help you heal.
Yes. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you guys for watching the Starry Night Inside podcast today. I'm Carla, and we'll be back to you with another episode soon. Thanks.